Welcome back, everyone. This is Insanity Check. I'm Skillet Sauce. That's Ken with 8 on the boards. You can check us out on our Twitter feed. It was at Insanity Check 12. Our Google Circles, Google Plus Circles, which is Insanity Check, and our Facebook page, which is also Insanity Check, and of course our YouTube channel, which is Insanity Check Radio. So we were actually having an interesting discussion, one that I must be honest, this is one of those situations that I always had my fixed opinion upon pedophiles, and I never, ever thought that I would ever be having this conversation.
Yeah.
Never.
And I'm gonna, because we found a couple of key points that we wanted to bring up on this article, but I actually have a personal story to share. And
Really?
yeah, really, because
Yeah, I want to hear this.
because
I hope you were on the receiving
definitely
end.
wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, your shit is nice. Your shit is tight.
that's
Well, actually,
nice and tight. Yeah, I'll let you guys know right now where I first heard that term
yeah,
from.
what were you saying, that in a public school?
Yeah,
I'm about to say. You was in the playground? Because if you were, I don't know if I ought to distance myself from this show right now. Because either you were on the receiving end of this story, because if you was the giver, you're going to jail tonight. so I'm like, yeah, what are you saying?
And this is attached to, again, my idea that I just brought up a little while in the last segment, about the normality that we choose to believe or we exist in. Again, if what we were talking about, if you just watch Little House on the Prairie, kids were getting married, and obviously if they're getting married, they're having sex. If they're having sex, they're getting fucked. So kids were getting fucked, and it was a regular thing, years ago, decades ago, a century ago, or whatever. And again, this was the part of a discussion that we were having,
But where's the story?
It's coming. Shut the fuck
The
up.
story's coming.
So, in my mind, again, just a purely observational mind state that I'm trying to work with here. Again, I didn't study any of this shit. I have no fucking facts, nothing. I just wonder, the differences. Like we've said before, we were kids. We watched Looney Tunes. We watched, these characters, blow each other up, shoot each other, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Somehow or another, we never did this shit. We never killed anybody. When we were kids, younger, to this day, as grown men with gray in our beards, insult each other in the worst possible way. Never did we ever fucking think about killing ourselves, or we don't, again, years, 20 some odd years, or collectively, or 30 years of schooling here, and we don't know one person who killed themselves because of an insult or anything like that. Yet this is one of the problems that we have in today's society. So again, my mind just thinks, it's fucked up, but, is fucking children really that horrible? Because we say it's that horrible, or because it is that horrible? And my personal story is simply this. This used to happen a lot. I was a kid at about 5 or 6 years old. What the fuck are you looking at, man?
I want to hear what you got to say, man.
And I was in the kitchen with my mom, and the phone rang, and I picked it up. And the guy on the phone said,
Definitely wish you the best of luck. Because, like I said, your shit is nice.
This is why kids will be traumatized, because insensitive, probably gay motherfuckers, will sit there.
Is that what he said when you picked the phone up?
That's what he said.
I'll pause right now so that people can get back to the
That's what he said when he picked the phone up?
How do you know that? Because that was you.
Because you said that you're going to tell us where you heard it before. And then,
Exactly.
And then this story leads to you picking the phone up with some guy.
Some dude on the. Okay. All right, man. I'm good. I'm good, man.
we got about 6-7 minutes left in this segment, so take your time.
All right, man. I'm okay, man. I'm okay. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
Tears are literally welling up in this motherfucker's eyes.
We definitely
I guess his fingers
wish
slipped.
you the best of luck.
Most definitely.
Because, like I said, your shit is nice. Your shit is tight.
Okay.
I'll be checking my mail until they're ready.
All right, okay, I'm dying. Oh, yo, man. Yeah, that soundbite is just, yeah. Okay. Okay, man. Okay, so.
So what did the guy say?
Yeah, what did the nice man say at the end of the phone, kid? What, he's emailing you now? Yo, man, it's not my fault, man. It's this dude, man. He encourages me.
Yeah, how many times has that been said, huh? Anyway,
Okay.
so I picked up the phone, and the dude asked me if my dick was hard. All right? And my response was,
Oh, shit.
no, it's not.
What the fuck? Who the fuck called you?
And
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
oh,
What the fuck are you talking
all of a sudden,
about?
no one remembers when perverts used to call phones and breathe
No,
and-
man, I never had no phone call like
Now,
that.
I didn't say you had it. Do you not remember when these things were going on?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, he guesses. Okay. So, and we actually had a conversation for about a minute. I can't remember what the rest of it was. Obviously,
Okay,
that
how,
was
how, how old were you at this point?
I said I was like about 5 or 6 years old. And then my mother was like,
No, let me ask you a question. So, did you know that because, I mean, did you know that your dick was your penis? Did you know? Did you understand that term?
yeah, I mean, he may not have actually said dick, but I knew what he was talking
Oh,
about.
okay. So, okay.
So my mother was like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, I don't know, some guy. She picked up the phone, was like, hello, hello, and of course the motherfucker jumped off because he was a fucking pervert. My point simply was, labored as it was to come out, was that I didn't know anything was wrong, you see, until my mother got upset. So again, and I'm not saying, ramming a 8-inch shaft into a fucking 8-year-old will be, clean and easy or anything like that. Again, I'm just simply like, kids play with themselves, kids explore, kids play doctor, while we don't encourage a brother and sister to check out each other's junk, it's not a crime. We never say that they'll be scarred for life, et cetera, et cetera. My simple point is, again, that story in conjunction with the history of America, with the way the different position children had in society, how they were, by our standards, way older, way more mature, had more responsibilities than they do now. Is it simply a matter of adjusting a person's brain at a certain age, or not?
Well,
That's simply my point.
now I guess because there was this crazy pervert that lived over not far from where we live, right?
Yeah, you getting your sound effects ready, motherfucker? No, because that's yeah.
So every time we would go to school, we would walk up East New York Avenue to go to Mahalia Jackson, and this dude would come out. He looked like Charles Manson to me. When I didn't know who Charles Manson was at that time, but now when I think back in retrospect, he looked like Charles Manson, and he would just walk out into the driveway. And while all of us are walking to school and jangle his dick around, he would come out the house completely butt naked.
I remember this story.
Yeah, so I threw a rock and hit him in his dick and shit, and took off and ran into a pole and almost broke my clavicle. But yeah, the shit was terrible, man. I was in pain. But seeing that didn't have any. I just thought it was a crazy old man and tried to hit him, to practice my aim. And I think about when you talk about the long-term ramifications or repercussions of these, actions, and I go back to, like you said, the Little House on Prairie days up till I guess the 40s or the 50s. I forgot when it, I guess people started getting married a little bit older. But, I was watching some Western movie the other day, and a woman said she was 21, and the guy was like, and you're not married with kids, I mean, what are you waiting for? Like, you're going to be an old, dried up hag. And I'm thinking at 21, because the 21-year-olds of that day were not running around on Twitter acting fucking stupid. They had, adult responsibilities.
Right.
So,
and while, you might think, you motherfuckers are really going out the deep end, of course it's going to fuck children up. Of course this, of course that. Once again, remember, even to this day, people think that gay parents are going to turn children gay.
And you know what you call it? Savage from Savage Love was on Bill Meyer's show, and he said, his son is straight.
Of course.
His son is 16 years old. His son has 2 dads, and his son is like, that whole thing, just doesn't apply. It's like, if anything, he said, children rebel against their parents. They want to be,
Right.
So he said his kid is completely straight, whatever 16-year-old.
Not to mention the notion that 2 parents will make a kid gay is stupid simply
because it's basically saying that you can create a gay person.
But not only that, but chances are that gay kid or person came from straight parents.
Well, that's what he said. He's like, how the hell do you think I got here?
Right.
So I mean,
but again, just pointing out that concepts change, notions change, ideologies change.
Now, I was
just saying.
We were looking at some of the other things. It said in July 2010, Harvard Health publication said pedophilia is a sexual orientation and unlikely to change. Treatment aims to enable someone to resist acting on his sexual urges. So it went on to also say, Linda Harvey of Mission America said the push for pedophiles to have equal rights will become more and more common as LGBT groups continue to assert themselves. It's all part of a plan to introduce sex to children at a younger and younger age, to convince them that normal friendship is actually a sexual attraction. So,
but for me, and I think for both of us, probably the most hard-hitting statement in this whole, that really had us thinking, or at least definitely had my mind open, if you will, to this concept, was that he went on to say that true pedophiles have an exclusive preference for children, which is the same as having a sexual orientation. You cannot change this person's sexual orientation. He may, however, remain abstinent. But true pedophiles, see,
that's what blew my mind.
Right. I always thought that pedophiles were people who got married and and could sneak some young ass on the side.
Yeah,
when
that
they
had
got
some,
chance.
like I said, like some sort of, I thought
a perversion,
horrific perversion.
It's a perversion. People have common regular sex. Sometimes they like to get whipped. Sometimes they like to get a stiletto in their fucking ass, or so whatever. But it's an extra. It's a perk. It's a side piece. It's a perversion. That's how we always viewed pedophilia as. But that statement right there is like, if indeed these people, for whatever fucking reason, only like bald little bodies, as fucked as that sounds and is, still to my mind, is like, we would be complete hypocrites. We, anyway, here, to be like, well, that's too bad, fuck that.
Because that's where I am. I'm like, how can I just blanket say, you know what, fuck you. I don't care what
you were born as.
I don't give a shit, because I don't believe, because my belief says you're not supposed to be fucking around with children. I don't give a fuck if you had 1 million doctors, and it basically is an ignorant statement. But that's literally where I find myself, because it's crazy. Because here's another part of it. The IASHS lists on this website a list of basic sexual rights that includes the right to engage in sexual acts or activities of any kind whatsoever, providing they do not involve non-consensual acts, violence, constraints, coercion, or fraud. Another right is to be free of persecution, condemnation, discrimination, or societal intervention in private sexual behavior, and the freedom of any sexual thought, fantasy, or desire. The organization also said that no one should be disadvantaged because of age. I mean, wow.
Yeah, that last part is
it's just crazy. I mean, it's just in the last line is sex offender laws protecting children have been challenged in several states, including California, Georgia, and Iowa. Sex offenders claim the laws prohibiting them from living near schools or parks are unfair because it penalizes them for life.
And lastly, this might be ignorant as shit, not a biologist, but as we discussed, try to take out how human physiology has been completely morphed by all the chemicals we ingest and the steroids and all the rest of this shit. Biologically, does it not say that if a child is ready to if a human body is ready to reproduce biologically, does that not mean somewhere somehow that they're ready for sex?
That we were just talking about this. My brother went to my cousin's Sweet 16, and he called me up and was like, "Yo, I gotta get the fuck out of here." Because he was like, because of these hormones or whatever in this food, he said these girls is just way too souped up. Their bodies look outrageous. He's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. These girls don't even know calculus. They fucking, still doing whatever the hell you do in the 10th grade. He's like, this makes no sense. So when you think about how we're physically maturing faster due to, I guess, some theories, are, the genetically modified foods and all the rest of the stuff, we're growing to sexual maturity faster. There could be something like you said. There's some room for interpretation, because if somebody 12 years old is souped up, a 12-year-old male kid is dunking a basketball at 6'6" and shit, and a girl has basically what I interpret as a woman's body at 12, and they're both at physical, not mental maturity, but obviously physically capable of reproducing. If they were placed in situations to where they had to be more mature, like you said, living out in the prairie or something like that, could I, with my mindset, go and judge them, knowing that they may have the responsibilities of what I feel a 25-year-old person would have?
Not to mention, remember, we have a personal testimony. An associate of ours, Gooch, remember, he went overseas.
Yep, that's right.
He's in our age group, 40s.
Yeah.
And he went there for a girl who was in her, early 20s?
Yeah, early 20s.
Early 20s. And now, to our knowledge, he never messed with chicks that age here in America. But he went there, and he said that the maturity level
blew him away. Just completely blew him away, because he was drawing the parallels to a 21, 22-year-old person over here, which is basically, I can't even communicate with these people half the time. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no common ground other than I'm human, they're human. That's it. And he was like, he was completely floored by the maturity of this woman, but of course she was not raised in this society. She was raised in a different culture. So
if she happened to have been 5 years younger, 17, should she not be allowed to be with whom she wanted to be with?
And also, when he went to visit, he was staying in the house with the parents.
Yeah,
the parents were completely okay, because apparently their culture was like, hey, whatever. I mean, this is one of those stories.
And this wasn't Thailand.
No, it was not. I said, this is one of those stories that, I guess, people can discuss this for a while, but if this ever gets pushed across, to where they feel that is truly.
And just in case anyone's watching, if you want to chime in,
please do, yes.
Number is 718-369-0411. 718-369-0411. Feel free. We'll be back in a couple minutes.